crossover worthy of Skeletor!
You boobs. He loves that word.
Welcome! Can't do that all the time. I can't break out Skeletor all the time. And now I sound like an old-timey gentleman. Hang on, I'll get on my steam-powered bike. Aren't we off to a great start?
As you can tell, we sometimes improv a lot of our videos, YOUniverse.
Really?
He knows how to get me every time.
I hadn't fucking guessed. So,
well, YOUniverse, welcome back
yeah.
to the only nerd-centric thing you need in your life.
So, once again, here we are. And we're finally doing a crossover after how many issues of panel to panel?
This makes 7, I think.
Yeah, 7. I abstained. Like, a lot of you guys oh, it's going to be a crossover right out the gate. It was like, nope, I was holding on. I fasted. I was waiting for double digits, and I went, screw it. Yeah, so what are we going to talk about today is He-Man, Thundercats from DC Comics. And that kind of sums up the whole review right there. So this is written by Rob David, who most of you guys who don't know, because even I didn't know for a short time, is that Rob David was the head writer of Thundercats for the cartoon. And the artwork is done by Freddie Williams III, who most of you guys would know best as the main artist for Batman TMNT. He's also doing the sequel.
Yes.
Yeah. And this crossover is amazing because it gives you exactly what you've always wanted. He-Man and Thundercats, the two biggest fantasy anime cartoons of the 80s. If you threw in G.I. Joe and Transformers, I'd have jizzed my pants.
I did jizz my pants, just so you know.
Hopefully not in my book. This is
It's not in the book, in my pants.
I was like, why are these pages sticky?
Chitara, man, come on. No, guys. Well, Chitara was a little known fact. I think I actually may have said this on video before, but she's hands down was the first naked woman I've ever seen. Okay,
oh yeah, that's right. She was technically naked.
Technically, she was naked, and I know it's kind of furry or whatever, but I was just not understanding what I was seeing when I was, I don't know, 6, 7 when it came out originally. But anyway, so moving on, crossover.
Okay, we're off.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So for the story is that Mum-Ra, after another loss at the hands of Lion-O, goes back to the Black Pyramid to talk to the ancient spirits of evil, and they're like, ancient spirits of evil, Mum-Ra, cut the shit, Mum-Ra. They're literally like...
They cut him off just as he's talking, yeah.
Yeah, and they're like, all right, that's it, we've given you all of our power, but you still keep screwing up. We want the Sword of Omens destroyed, so we thought of a plan for you. We found a sword called the Sword of Grayskull, and it's strong enough for you to fight him. But you gotta get there. You gotta get to Eternia. So with everything Mum-Ra has, he pulls Eternia, the Third Earth, right in the orbit of Eternia. And it gets insane from then on. And it's also funny to note that this comic, a lot of it is narration from one character, and you don't know who they are until the end of the book. And the first issue is Skeletor, who's narrating the whole story, which is hysterical because this guy's clearly written like 80 Skeletor.
It's the only way to write him. He's fantastic that way. That's
why, thank you, Craig.
I mean, the proof is in the pudding. He is now a spokesman for Geico, and there's another, I don't know what the commercial's for, with him and He-Man dancing around in a bar.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just great. I mean, it's Skeletor. It's what he's supposed to be. But for me, man, listen, I'm born and raised in the 80s. This is probably, in my opinion, top 5 favorite comic book I've ever read. And it's just because it's pure nostalgia for me to see all these characters interact, fight, just conversate, be in the same panel. And I was just speaking with you off camera, the scene, the spoiler alert, guys. So there's a scene where He-Man, essentially as Adam, Prince Adam, is worried about his dad who's just fallen, and he saved his dad. He's still alive. He's like, thank God. And so he's getting ready to turn into He-Man, right? And the sorceress, who we all know and love, is a trustworthy friend of He-Man. Just as he raises the sword to say, I have the power, okay, to turn into He-Man, is interrupted. And the sorceress basically is like, we need to get the sword out of here. We can't let this something...
There's this big evil that's even greater than Skeletor, and it's going to take the sword.
Right. And he's like, we got to get it out of here. So him trusting her is like, yeah, okay. And the second this is happening, in the panel, he gets a sword straight through the chest. I'm talking...
By the sorceress.
By the sorceress. Murder Central. Okay? I'm not joking. When I saw that panel, I dropped the comic to the floor, and I was almost like, no. This can't be what's happening. And I told you, I was like, I don't care if she's brainwashed. I don't care if it's... I didn't even in my mind cross that it was another character.
Which, spoiler alert, it was.
Well, yeah, it turned out to be Mum-Ra, but there's just no way. It's just, you can't ruin my childhood like this. So finally I mustered through it, and it obviously turned out not to be her. Okay, and it turned out to be him, so that was great, but man, I really, really was about to cry reading this comic book. So I'm not talking like 5 minutes into the comic. I was ready to just give it up, and it turned out to be one of my favorites of all time.
Yeah. And you also had, like, it redeemed itself because there was that panel of Cringer.
My favorite panel, is the first issue too, is with Cringer growing a set, if you will. And he finally is not a cowardly tiger and just jumps up and bites Mum-Ra right in the thigh because he's killing his boy, he's killing his master, his best friend. And, you know, Adam's about to die, so Cringer steps up and takes a bite out of him, and I was just like, yes! I was so hyped.
He gets the piss beat out of him.
Oh yeah, for sure. But just the fact that Cringer did that for Prince Adam, I was hooked at that point.
Yeah. I will say that this is more of a He-Man comic than Thunder, but Thundercats get enough balance, but it is on Eternia. A lot of the stuff is He-Man centric.
Right.
But I think it works because it balances itself out. Even though it's He-Man and Thundercats, it's more like He-Man and Lion-O, really, for the most of the story.
Yeah, you're right.
It is interesting, though, that even though this is an 80s card, there is some swearing and blood in here, but it's not, like, overly violent and overly done. Like, when they're swearing, it's necessary. It feels like it's part of the story. It doesn't feel like, oh, Lion-O just said, damn. You know, or, oh, Prince Adam said hell. What is this? It's like, it feels fluid enough. And
right.
Because
it definitely deals with mature themes. I mean, again.
And it's not like gory blood. It's more like Lion-O in this comic actually gets cut by Skeletor.
Yeah.
And he gets slapped. He actually keeps the scar, and he's blind in that eye. That's canon now, technically. Skeletor also in here is a gas because, like I said, it's Skeletor. What do you expect? Even his plan is ridiculous because he essentially steals the power of Grayskull, thus killing He-Man. While at the same time he drinks Mum-Ra. Let me say that again, in case you didn't hear it. He drinks Mum-Ra like a protein shake. Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty wild. I was like, what the hell's going on?
Could you imagine passing that? Like, it would be like, Beastman! Beastman, get the catheter!
Oh, Lord of mercy. That is hysterical. No, but I was pretty thrown back when he was mixing them up and taking shots, if you will. But no, when he chugged him down, I was like, oh, what am I watching? Or what am I reading?
Yeah.
But no, I mean, it made sense for the outcome of what was going to happen at the, as the book went on. But it was such a good book, man. I can't praise it enough. Honestly, YOUniverse, if you guys are a fan of either side of these cartoons, if you're a fan of any incarnation of them, this is right up your alley. It really is. I mean, just from the very, very beginning, just with how it opens with Adam being late to his own coronation, his own thing, if you will. Yeah. And just the little things the characters are saying amongst themselves in the crowd, so would have been on the TV show, as a kid, Masters of the Universe. Yeah. I mean, they really understand each of these characters. And again, like you said, I do feel that He-Man gets a little more of the spotlight. But, in speaking of someone who grew up in that era and watched these shows when they first aired on TV, I mean, in a room, especially in a room of toys, there's no one bigger than He-Man. In boys' toys, and he outsold G.I. Joe, he outsold Transformers, he's outsold everybody. Granted, it was a short period of time, but he's sold more than any other male toy ever. So until video games, but so I mean, he does deserve the praise, I guess. And if there's going to be a sword to rival that one,
yeah,
you know,
and they do. He-Man and Lino do fight. And you're probably wondering, well, that's not how the Sword of Omens works, because if it tries to cut someone worthy, it's like stops.
Breaks.
Yeah, it's all happened to us before, Lino. You know, it's happened to the best of us. Don't feel bad. You know, we meet someone of virtue, and
all right, exactly.
But no. Because Lino's whole plan is to bring Adam back, is to Lazarus pit him, essentially.
Right.
With Mum-Ra's pit, that how he regenerates himself. Mm-hmm. But problem is that he kind of goes Pet Cemetery.
So that was their basic workaround, essentially.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
Pet Cemetery, good one. And they're cats, too. That's funny.
Yeah. And even Battle Cat becomes a Thundercat for a while. I will say that a lot of the Masters of the Universe and the other Thundercats don't get a lot to do. Except for the final battle, which, by the way, the artwork...
Splash page.
There's some beautiful artwork in here.
Right. From
Freddie Williams III. That was what... Even though I thought the Batman TMNT crossover was okay, the artwork in there is still great.
Right.
And this is I think this is actually a lot better. There's some just beautiful splash pages. I want that as a poster. I want that as a poster. I want that as a poster.
Right. It's like you want to get whole nother issue just so you can start cutting.
Not that I would do that.
Right. Get it blown up.
Yeah. But there is some Tila and Chitara hang out, and they're all fighting the spirits of evil, the ancient spirits of evil, who actually get physical form. And there's actually
which is cool.
And there's actually a tie-in of Snake Mountain and the Ancient Spirits of Evil, where Snake Mountain is actually another ancient spirit of evil.
Oh, wow. I forgot about that.
Yeah. It was like a sister spirit.
Yeah, I forgot all about that.
Yeah.
It's been a while. Even though you let me borrow it, I didn't. Yeah. As you can clearly see, I didn't reread it. I didn't have time. But
yeah.
But it is awesome. I completely forgot about that. That's true.
Yeah. And it was cool, Panthro and Tigra hang out with Man-at-Arms. Even Orko hang out with I want to...
Snarf.
Yeah, but then, he teamed up with Wily Kit and Wily Cat. And even Orko does, this is why I've liked Orko over Snarf, is that Orko actually does stuff. He's not
True.
Oh, Orko. He's more hey, I'm going to cast a spell. It might backfire.
Orko or Snarf. Oh man, I promise I haven't been drinking, guys. I really have.
I'm just killing him. Yeah, but
yeah, no, but you're right. It is. Orko does at least bring something to the table generally. Yeah.
He actually casts. They don't work all the time, but he's actually there's a scene in this comic.
He saves some people and using magic. Yeah.
Yeah, he's you can thank the great and powerful Orko for saving you, but please hurry, my back is killing me.
You gotta love Orko.
Yeah, and we even get to see the villains too. We see Slithe and Morkian, and Jackal Man and Hyena. Jackal Man, Vulture Man. With Triclops and Trapjaw and all of them together. And there's so many cool scenes like that. This is just all around fun for 6 issues. It gives you a whole coherent story, and there's even they play it. There's a joke at DC Comics. Actually, with it's really fun because they play with multiverse, and because the whole thing is that Gray Skull is actually a nexus to the multiverse, and they pop in through universes, and there's neat little jabs to each one, you knew what you were doing, Rob. You knew what you were doing. So, yeah. What more can I say about this comic other than go? It's a buy.
It's a buy. Definitely, it's a buy. Yeah. Hands down. I'm telling you, I'm not just... I understand it's all nostalgia what I'm talking, but it really is good, too. It's not just, we have nostalgia glasses on when we're talking about this comic. It's genuinely good. Tells a cohesive story. The artwork is amazing. It's 2 of the most iconic characters in any fiction.
In just the 80s and animation in general.
Right, just in general. Again, not just animation, they're toys too. So, amazing. And, you know, fingers crossed that the next He-Man we get in the film, live action, is going to be good. And fingers crossed that we do get a non-Michael Bay Thundercats.
Oh,
Just got to put that out there. I mean, it's almost inevitable. We'll get them eventually.
Yeah.
But hopefully it isn't Michael Bay that brings it to us. So.
Yeah. The He-Man movie, I'm like, can we just, like, I know it wasn't a good movie, but you know that King Arthur movie, right? That came out last year.
Yeah.
There's I swear to God, the character Jude Law turns into is Skeletor. Like he turns into
that. Yeah.
Yeah. So what? That was good evidence that you could get away with doing a good He-Man movie.
You know, and even the old cheesy 1980s one, there's some elements to the film that I do like. Like for the time frame, I mean, Skeletor is amazing looking in that film. Like he really, really is. I mean, also that movie got us Courtney Cox too. So. She was in the movie, if you didn't remember.
Oh, that's right. She was. I forget about that movie intentionally.
You know, unfortunately, clearly, if you ever go back and watch that film, they really did have too much of an influence from Star Wars. They were trying to make the next Star Wars, if you will. And I think that's where the biggest... That and the budget. Another little-known fact about that film is the director of that film... not that we're going off track here, but the director of that film, the final scene to that movie... budget-wise, was when He-Man pulls the sword out. They had no money left to film the rest of the movie. So an additional 4 months went by, and the director had to make enough money to come back to film the rest. Granted, it's only like 15 minutes left of the movie, but literally the last scene was when he got to pull up, and then they ran out of money. So the whole fight between him and Skeletor and everything, there was no ending to the film. Essentially, that's how the movie was going to end, and the studio was almost... about to give us, that's how the movie ends. He just pulls the sword and that was the end of the movie. So that was on my DVD or my Blu-ray or whatever features when I got that. But anyway, this book, amazing. Pick it up. Let us know if you've read it. If you own it, please tell us what you think. You know, fondest memories of the characters, whatever. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. So, there you go, guys. There's our comic review. So, tune in next time because for the next 2 weeks, we're really going to hit home the whole Infinity Countdown, or Countdown to Infinity.
Yeah, we're going to try and stick to basically everything that involves that whole storyline. We're going to try to bring to you guys. So, guys, like, share, subscribe to the video, comment below, follow us on all of our social media networks. All the descriptions will be in the links below, and we'll see you next time
in the YOUniverse.